So I'm going to turn to Senator Graham. I have a lot more questions, but we'll have a second round, I hope.
Thanks, Senator Blumenthal. So if Congress does nothing, where does this thing go, Mr. Swarbrick?
Well, I think we'll wind up with a series of rulings that declare students as employees subject to the FLSA rules or other rules and regulations. But it won't happen uniformly. It'll happen serially and create an unsustainable difference from state to state. We'll have a patchwork of state legislation that will also create differences which are unsustainable. That, for me, are the things that are most important to avoid at the moment while we continue the reforms that Senator Blumenthal articulated.
Governor Baker, do you agree with that? Where do you see this thing going if we do nothing?
I would say, first of all, that I think while I appreciate Walker Jones's optimism about men and women when it comes to NIL participation, the numbers are so well, first of all, there are no publicly available numbers, okay? So the first thing we really need there, more than anything, is some form of transparency around what people are actually getting. There are reporters who cover college sports who won't write about NIL because they don't believe anything anybody tells them. That's one of the...
Just hold on a second. Mr. Jones, who's the highest paid NIL person in college football?
Well, again, a lot of that is some urban legend.
Well, I'm not asking about urban legend.
Well,
if you're in this business, you should know. Tell me.
Well, again, probably the highest grossing is a gymnast, actually, Olivia Dunn from LSU.
How much does she make?
Again, she's making into the seven figures. I don't know the exact figure, but she's well into the seven figures in her endorsements.
Mr. Petit, is that Tony? Can I just call you Tony?
That's fine, Senator. Thank you.
Okay, where does this thing go if we just sit on the sidelines?
I agree with what's been said. I think where we're going to end up is we're going to be having a system that's been dictated by myriad state laws, by the results of litigation, and by the results of employment action. Is completely unmanaged change. I think the results are unpredictable, and I think
Let me give you my concern. Yes, between the portal and the poaching of players, I think you have chaos. I mean, you got the University of Utah offering everybody who will play a truck. So we're headed down the road here of a bidding war. Do you agree with that, Tony?
I do. I think our coaches would echo the same sentiment across multiple sports in terms of just the money entering the system. It's called NIL, but it's not really NIL. So when we say that collectives are responsible for the overwhelming amount of money in the system, that money is not really true NIL deals right now. So I feel you are correct, Senator.
So here's my concern to the committee is that, college athletics needs to be available to men and women at every level, non-generating. Ms. Thomas, does the gymnastic team make money for the University of Florida, or do you know?
I'm not sure.
Okay. Well, you've got a lot to be proud of. But there are a lot of programs out there that don't make money. Is that true, Ms. Bodensteiner?
That is correct.
If it's all about money, they're going to be left behind. Division II schools. If you made Division II, if you made people employees, Governor Baker, what would happen to Division II schools?
I think it's pretty clear that Division II and Division III schools would get out of the interscholastic collegiate sports business and probably turn most of their stuff into club sports. I mean,
it's going to happen, right? If you make these people employees, they can't afford it.
You tax everything and you completely change the model, and it's sort of a 4x increase in what the cost would be if, I mean, the typical D2 school has an athletic budget of $5 or $6 million. I mean, that's the way you should start, and D3 is more or less the same. It's 95% of the schools lose money on sports. 95, right? 5% of them have serious budgets with serious revenue and a concern about employment, but a willingness to do a lot more around what they believe they should be doing for student athletes. But you're right, Senator, the impact on D2 and D3, and by the way, a lot of D1 schools would be, and their athletes, student athletes, would be profound.
It seems to me we want to avoid that. to make, college sports available to a lot of people at different levels. That should be one of our goals. Do you all agree with that? Everybody nods. So, Mr. Chairman, let's try to find a way, Senator Blumenthal, to deal with the money problem in NIL, make sure that people are taken care of as athletes, and it's not just a wild, wild west out there. But final comment, if this committee and the Commerce Committee doesn't act in about a year, this thing is going to be an absolute mess, and you're going to destroy college athletics as we know it. Thanks.